Hello, the button is clicked. Welcome to actual play, Girl by Moonlight, Earth Unmade. Uh, we haven't been here for a while, but I'm super excited to get back into this game. So, yeah, starting saying hello. How are you, Andy? What's up with you right now?
Oh gosh, life's great. This is good. Hi, my name's Andy. Um, I play the Stranger Playbook here, Abbott. Oh, very important detail. My pronouns are she and her. I am looking forward today to finding out the consequences of all of the really great decision making that we made last time through. So, if you like seeing everyone scramble and be sad about their well intentioned, probably not even.
I don't
Um,
believe it that at all.
but we'll see. That's what I got. Uh, Andrew, where you at?
Hi, that's me. I'm Andrew. I use they them pronouns, and yeah, I'm excited to figure out this failing to deliver clock that y'all filled yesterday. I have some thoughts about what that might look like. And just for the absolute catastrophe that was unleashed.
It was like a
We're very
twofer.
generous as players. You're just like, here, take
Right. I mean, we really gave you a two for one. We're like, we're not going to do our mission, and we're also going to break the seal that holds like the Leviathan God thing at bay.
Yeah.
Hey, that was temporary. There's fail safes.
Yeah.
We blew out power in the city for several hours.
It was
Yeah.
12 hours, and that's fine. It was just 12 hours.
Right.
I've been reading up on a lot of World War II stuff because there's this cool World War II Twitter that I follow that just like does news from World War II day by day. And they recently restarted it at 49 or whatever. And there was all the stuff around the blackout that the Brits would do for it, and they did that for a very long time during the war because of air raids and stuff like that. And I'm just like, ooh, this might come up in role playing games or something later. And sure enough, we have a 12-hour power outage in an embattled city, and I'm just like, yes, I have some thoughts.
What's that look like? Yeah.
But yeah, how you doing, Strush?
I am a little tired, and I've got a very curious cat here who is insistent about being on stream for the moment. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Hi, I'm Strash. I use he/him pronouns, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. Actually, hilariously, usually I'm the person that's always at odds with the team, but the team is dreading with trepidation everything, and I think I'm probably the only character that's like, yeah, we did it. So what? So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, Sean, what about you?
Yeah, I'm Sean. I use he/him pronouns, and I currently colored by this lovely halo of light. If you see this sort of like white out, it's just because it's my angelic halo because I'm such a nice person. No, it's just because the sun is setting behind me, and my camera does weird things with that, and I can't block it out enough. I'm playing. Signe Una Daughter, the Prophet of Torsion, the Binder of Wills, the Gatekeeper of the Five Stones. But you can just call me Prophet. Probably call my character Prophet. She is the time traveler, and I just took a new move called Dark Omen. When you use your impossible knowledge to persuade someone, gain +1 effect. If the fate you warn them comes to pass, mark experience. So that sounds like fun. I'm excited about this. Hey, what's up, Nadja? And I am really looking forward to seeing how we react because I think I've got like a two-pronged reaction to make. One is to Abbott for what she did, and the other one is to Landgrave, who knows that it was us, and I'm sure all sorts of other things as well. But I can't wait to find out how bad this is. So yeah, I'm excited to play again, and I think we're ready to go, do the thing. So how do we play this game, Andrew?
If I had a complete answer to that question, I could take it to a publisher.
You could. You could consider it with even an incomplete answer. You know.
Okay, so bookkeeping stuff that we need to deal with. We need to roll for Fallout because y'all finished a mission last session. Everyone who isn't in Eclipse can clear all of their stress and reset their transcendence. And then because of the series playset that we're in, we've got some special stuff for that, where when you leave the little baby bastion unattended, it gets up to no good. So we're going to roll for that as well. And I'm just going to bring us over to the crew sheet because that's where all the relevant info is. And then y'all also have an advance to take.
Ooh.
Choice.
Which,
advances.
yeah, there are lots of options. Because, there's the veteran advance you can pull from any of the other books if you're interested, but
I haven't really gone shopping that far and wide. I must acknowledge.
I think we talked about the Esprit de Corps move at one point. I don't know if we talked about it in a way that...
Yeah, it would help y'all recover from harm.
Yeah.
Which is good because y'all took a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've also slightly tweaked some of the outputs of the downtime actions. So
cool.
Like the best result on a help someone recover gives them 4 ticks. So it just gives them a full thing. So stuff like that is a little bit easier now.
Cool. Yay, faster healing.
With that. So
yeah.
Cool, there's hope.
Just to let you know of the relative value of that thing, it has gone up slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that and various other sundry moves. I'm just going to go ahead and do the roll for the Bastion.
Great.
Right. We got our readiness pretty high up there, despite skipping out on like fighting Leviathans.
There were lots of training montages and preparations being made and food being given to people.
Yeah, I think Reyna like made sure everybody was prepared. She's like, okay, I'm not going to go on this mission, but I'm going to make sure all of you can kick butt on this mission.
So
responsibly irresponsible.
So I'm going to roll 2d6. I'm just going to hijack one of your sheets for a moment to make a fortune roll here.
Yeah, hijack away.
We'll see how well it handles all of that. Poorly. I rolled a 2 and a 3.
Nice.
So, on a 1 to 3, and I think this is very fitting, it's a disaster. The Bastion track reduces by 3, and the crew must answer for it.
That sounds
that
story checks out.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah. So let's see. This puts us at we'd lost 1 previously, so now we've lost a total of 4. So you're still just hanging on to having 3 dice worth of stuff. So that's good.
Can you unpackage for me? You just counted down on one of the tracks. I don't know which one or where it was.
It's up here in the top right of the crew sheet. It's the last Bastion track.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it starts full and counts down. As it passes these little thresholds, it's going to lose dice. The Bastion essentially will roll less dice as it gets more and more embattled, depleted of resources, people are dead, that kind of thing.
Great. And the
How
times...
do we fix that? Sorry, go ahead.
I was curious about, and the Bastion rolls dice to do what?
So it'll help you all in downtime, which I think maybe we forgot to do last time. It's mostly for those rolls, actually. I think that's the main place that it matters. It's just like how much help it can provide for you.
Because it will, I remember early on we had the pleasure of there wasn't enough badness, so the Bastion got itself up to shenanigans trying to do stuff, right? Because there wasn't stuff
devices without anything bad happening. It gets worse. Things get worse, and then after that, it starts helping you.
Yeah. Okay. And I only remember that part ever being the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the only way it gets better is that it can help itself recover, which is the last thing on its list of priorities before making things worse. So if it runs out of anything else to do, it will make things worse. But then the second to last thing that it will do is help itself recover. Its first priority is to work on a long-term project for the flagship, if one's already underway. And the second thing it will do is make preparations if the darkness track exceeds readiness, which currently your readiness is very high. That said, it's going to drop by half, rounded up. So it's going to go to 6. I'm just going through all the like cleanup stuff.
No, this is great. Thank you for unpackaging that for me.
Oh yeah, totally.
So,
and then we need to do a roll for
Strash, you had a question. I'm sorry that because you deferred to me.
I was just gonna ask, how does the bastion go back up? How does it get all fix-mabobbed?
Yeah, and so it can fix itself. I mean, if y'all want to do like long-term projects to fix it or something, sure, but it's like the scope of it is pretty big. The other important thing about that track is if it ever gets to 0, humanity's last safe place is blowed up or ruined.
Kaboomed.
Yeah. And then,
that's okay. There's a second site.
Well, yeah, that's another exciting thing we learned last time / was made up on the spot last time. Is that there is like a second site, whatever that means, in the context of the like core thing trying to escape out of the MacGuffin space. And I think given the context of the conversation, it was kind of implied that there was like another thing that would barf out monsters, basically.
Yeah, that's what I recall.
So after a mission, the crew rolls for Fallout. The MC will roll dice equal to the current investigation tier, which was 2 before I reset.
It was. I thought it was 1 to 3, wasn't it? Was it 11?
It had a toe into 3, but it needs to fill it in order to count for that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'll roll. I have a table that I roll on basically. And then y'all will have an opportunity to kind of deal with that stuff. We might play some of it out as well. And then we also have
the table on the crew sheet. I'm just wondering if people can see it.
The table is on my version of the crew sheet.
It's on your version of the crew sheet.
It's a secret. I think, Sean, you're a GM in the Roll20 game, so you can bring yourself over to it.
I could go over and see the MC sheet.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
I'm
in your base, killing your dudes.
My dudes.
So you're not rolling Fallout because you just rolled that.
Yeah, we just rolled that. No, sorry, this is an extra thing that I need to roll. So I'm going to roll the current investigation tier, right? So which was 2.
Yeah.
So I'll just roll 2d6 and see.
Cool. Get some good numbers. Those are good numbers. Oh, yeah, there we go.
High roll, which is good for you.
Great.
Oh wait, no, high is bad.
Andrew.
Hold on.
High is bad, and so no.
No, we were rolling our readiness. We worked real hard to get that readiness up. High should be good.
Yeah, high is good. High is good.
Okay.
I was like,
my heart.
I know. I was gonna be like, Andrew, I think this game is it's all bad. I don't know why we're rolling dice.
I looked at the table and I looked at the 1 to 3 results and the 6 results, and both of them were bad. And so I was just like, oh well, I mean, high is bad, but no,
because they're all bad.
Because everything's bad. It's just degrees thereof.
I get it.
Oh, so the secret of the GM sheet is that it's actually everything is terrible.
Yeah.
There is no hand them a lollipop option here.
Oh.
Okay. So next time I see you all, which will be soon enough, I will bring the lollipops because the game isn't doing it.
And so we're going to be in there. Roll the 6.
What? But you're not looking at the Fallout sheet. You just rolled that, right?
I just rolled that, so I'm looking on the chart here. Yeah, and the option that we're going to end up with is that a pilot is reprimanded.
Oh, well, that's
all of us.
Take your pick, right?
Please, have at.
Well, just to throw myself a little under the bus, the only pilot that was seen and
No, exactly.
identified was
It's gonna be
Prophet.
you. It's gonna be you, of course.
Oh, troubled captain.
But this just maps really nicely to the fiction we already have. And then the last thing we need to do is we're gonna add to the darkness track, because that happens after every mission. So the questions we ask ourselves, it advances one segment plus one for each of the following criteria, which is, did the darkness's agenda move forward? Which, if I look at my thing here, darkness's agenda is to silence our civilization. And I feel like y'all disabling the power generators and stuff kind of ended up doing that. So we're at 2 now. Someone was eclipsed or fell to darkness.
Nope, we bounced.
Dodged that just barely.
Yeah, we just dodged that, yeah.
The crew came closer to its destiny. And y'all's destiny, or like the big like ultimate outcome that we're looking for.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I mean, I think so. We learned a huge amount about the world and what we're doing, and that there's another site. I don't know if we...
I think a lot of us actually learned a lot about these like prophecies and stuff. Like we were studying the paintings on the walls.
All right.
Oh, my brain is failing. Andy, what is your character's name again?
Abbott.
Abbott got to talk to like a giant monster and gained a tentacle wing.
Yeah.
I feel like we found out a lot about where things are going and kind of where we are at the moment for reals, as opposed to the propaganda.
Yeah, I don't know if we went the direction, but I feel like we learned a lot that points us in the direction. So it depends on how much you want to like conceptually split the difference between those things.
Cool. Well, okay. I mean, I'm all for making things worse. So
Sure.
Another 3 on the darkness track.
Woo-hoo!
Cool.
So it's now right in the middle.
Right, we're halfway dead.
Yep.
We are.
And so as this track fills up, things get worse. Like the magnitude of my Fallout stuff is more severe. And then once it fills, the Leviathans stage some massive attack on the Bastion, and everything's super hefty and bad. The thing you need to do to get ahead of that is the Stage a Desperate Counterattack mission will beat the Leviathans to the punch and reset everything with a less horrible outcome for humanity and you all.
And to get to the point where we can stage a desperate counterattack, we just have to be in Darkness 3, right? There's not a prerequisite for that, or do we have to have done certain things?
There's no like hard limit on it. Your engagement roll will be super shit if readiness isn't high.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and you won't, like...
Speaking of readiness being high, since we have a crew advance, how do you find folks feel about, what is it, high alert? During downtime, the crew gets additional downtime actions to distribute amongst its members equal to the current tier of the darkness track -1, which means that at this point we'd get at least 1 free downtime action, but they have to be spent on investigating the darkness. So like raising readiness.
Raising readiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it gives you free downtime activities, which is good.
I assume that if you take that move before the darkness is at 2, it does nothing, right? It's not...
That's different.
It's not darkness level -1, minimum 1. It's darkness level -1, and it could be 0. Is that accurate? High alert doesn't do anything until the darkness level is 2.
So the darkness it's like the current tier that it's in. So as long as there's 1 point, it's in 1. As long as it's gone past 5, it's in 2.
Right. No, it's in 2 right now for sure.
What Sean is saying is you would never take this move at the beginning because it does nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's not a good first advance. I'm wondering if maybe I need to change that.
I think you could spend 1 investigation progress roll.
So yeah, there's the other move, which is the kind of the inverse of that, where you can spend readiness to make your other downtime actions do better stuff. But that would be the equivalent of you like stealing supplies to help out with your own long-term project, or
right. We can cannibalize. Yeah, I think high alert makes sense. I think high alert is exactly what the Bastion is in right now. Like I think it's very apropos to our current predicament because we just broke the system, shut down the power. Andy, does that sound good to you?
I think it makes really great sense because it expands what we can do. Whereas while we were talking about Esprit de Corps, which while that would help us with the thing that we really need to do, which is the help a friend recover action, this means that it's a little bit easier to get more stuff done because it's been my experience, I don't know about y'all, that we don't have enough downtime actions. And like picking is like, and it's just becoming increasingly clear, like that flatly, like we're fucked.
Right. The options tend to be take care of ourselves and each other and let everything go to hell.
Yeah.
Or try and stop everything from going to hell and have all of us be stressed out and not connected with one another and not recovering from our own injuries. I think that's the tension that's desired. So it's in effect.
Yes, it is present and sad and woof.
Yeah, there's meant to be a bit of a crunch. And so this, whereas the other one makes it that when you do take the action, you get more result. This one will give you the opportunity to like actually take it in the first place.
Yeah. So
driving it, right?
Yeah. So that's all to say that yes, I think high alert sounds great.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's very, very timely to grab that before going into downtime. So things that we need to resolve in no particular order are the fact that
the Bastion has to do a thing, right?
Or so the Bastion's going to do its stuff, but first we got to deal with Fallout.
Okay.
You're getting reprimanded by your CO.
Really?
You don't say.
I wasn't expecting that.
And then we also have this broader like crew level idea of y'all failing to deliver, which I want to talk about this one in advance of doing anything else, and get a sense of like what this might mean. Because I thought I had was that you all being fuck ups is something that Hildar might leverage against you in order to get you to do something that he wants you to do instead of whatever it is that maybe you all wanted to do, which is to say he might pick your next mission for you if that's something that doesn't feel too gross and like me robbing you of your stuff. So that's one option that I was thinking for that one, but we can do any number of things for it.
Well, I feel like in these sort of scenarios where like you screw up real bad, and the boss person is like has this leverage over you. Usually, there's something more than just like I'm real mad at you. That is the leverage that says, you know, I think it has to be a little ramped up even a little bit more to be not just I'm mad at you, but like you're going to get grounded. Like you're going to get kicked out of the LDF unless you do this. Like it's grounds for our imprisonment or our
summary execution because you don't retire as a pilot.
Exile. You have to go outside the bubble without your engines.
A thing, love it, Strauss. A thing that I want to pull up because I think all of this sounds great. And if I remember the context of failing to deliver a little bit differently, and that it was related to being in relation to the public. And that doesn't mean that pressure isn't felt through Hildar, but that I feel like there was this like, it was around, if I remember correctly, Raina.
No, this does sound, this is jogging.
Raina like trying to be a badass, and it didn't work out. And then like we bought in, maybe it was Tor, then was like, no, I did a cool thing. And then we started like setting high expectations. I think then Abbott did something, right? And we're like, check us out, we're cool. And the price of being able to be successful was that our fan base, the fickle public, we're going to continue to expect more and more and more from us. And that when we're going to fail, which was inevitable, that there would be a big backlash that can look like a lot of different stuff, but that a big component of that was public sentiment.
Yeah, no, it's good that you reminded me because I had kind of forgotten about the roots of it.
And
So
that
relating to the public
certainly could still lead to Hildar trying to get us to do something that is perhaps more for display than it is for actually the good. Like now we have to do this mission that's really more about making ourselves look good in the public eye. Have to try and do damage control to our rep rather than damage control to
like meaningful things that
meaningful
actually
things.
I mean,
yeah.
like it could be really gross. Like everyone gets hooked up with people they hate on like a public front, right? Like,
some reality TV stuff.
so, yeah, it could. Like, there's also some stuff. Like, I mean, there's so many terrible bad options.
Yeah.
I'm sad I said that.
No, I mean, but now if you think about what happens right now when a celebrity falls out of favor, the world loves to destroy them. I mean, sides are picked. Some people will side behind them, but or side with them rather, but we adore tearing apart our celebrities. We adore raising them up and then ripping them down. So I could see this just horrible stain on us that is pervasive and really possibly impossible to ever really get rid of. Like we could maybe impress people, but this will be something they always remember.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of ways that we can make that consequential. Okay.
Yeah, because
couple of thoughts. In terms of like mechanical penalties or stuff, it could be like rolling obligation is harder until you shake this like black mark on your crew, essentially, because there's always that extra pressure to like clean up, and you're being hounded by the camera crews and stuff constantly because shitting on you is the big ticket thing at the moment, and they want lots of coverage and lots of like intense moments so that they can either frame your redemption arc or your unraveling.
I think it would be fair to just inflict harm during obligation, and if we wish to like drained, exhausted, humiliated, and if we wish to resist that harm, then we could roll, and we essentially be rolling
an
resistance
extra
twice.
Yeah.
We could either choose like accept the harm that just comes from people crapping on us, or resist once for obligation and resist a second time for
yeah, that seems good, Sean. That seems suitably awful. It would just be level 1 harm, like disgraced, I think.
Nice.
And y'all can resist that or not at your option. And that'll just be something that we assign to everyone in the crew right after obligation happens. And so now we need to deal with your reprimand, Prophet.
Cool.
So
what's that look like?
We had that scene
I already
previously.
know, but just for the audience, tell them.
Yeah, no. We had that scene previously in Hildar's office.
Yeah.
So I think we're back there.
The scene that sparked the whole reason why we did this mission.
Yeah, exactly. So that loop comes back. And I think this is still, it's like during the blackout.
Yep, absolutely.
Because it's 12 hours long and we cut time pretty closely in this series. It's like dawn.
Are there emergency lights? Like, is there like the red klaxons of emergency power where there's like dim lights, red lights?
It's the kind of thing where like normally the hallway would be lit at very like consistent intervals, but now it's like 3/4 of those are off.
Yeah.
So there's like a light down at the end of the hallway and at the other end of the hallway. And in his office, he doesn't have the lights on. There's just the light of dawn coming in because he's lucky that this building is out on the edge of the bastion and actually gets sunlight. And so there's like the like big Venetian blinds with like the dramatic cut up
with the prisoner
yeah.
level, like the prisoner shadows forming on Prophet's face.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's definitely facing out towards the sun.
Yeah, and he's like in shadow behind his desk, lit like from below by this like glow of the data pad that he's working with. And yeah, he's like called you in, and we're just getting like this start. We pick up partway through the conversation.
Sure, right.
Um,
I think Prophet is sitting there with her hand. She's like sitting with her hands under her legs, like her legs close together, and her hands like under her thighs. So she's like a very small profile, and she's looking up, but it's she's looking up at him, or I think she's looking away from him. I don't think she's looking directly at him. She's facing he's like at his desk, and she's facing out at the window.
Yeah.
And looking very already like she's probably apologized many times already from the look on her face, right?
Yeah, we've gotten through all of that stuff, and now we're into the like, so what does this mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, Hildar is just like, I need better from you. You especially. I expect your crew to act out and do stupid things. You are supposed to be better. So we're going to fix this. And he like gets up and starts pacing in front of the window.
Mm-hmm. I think we see like Prophet go from lines to blacked out in shadow of him walking, and then
yeah, exactly. And there's the like heavy thud of his prosthetic leg.
Yeah. So at some point she interrupts. I mean, she's kind of biding her time,
lecturing you.
Yeah. And so I feel like, he's saying, we're going to fix this. And she's just nodding ever so still, like it's affirmative, but she's hardly moving. And at some point she interrupts and says, but sir, you also know what they're doing was wrong.
Yeah, and he like wheels on his heel to face you.
And I think she's been super like accepting everything he said up until now. She's been very like submissive to like his like, oh, you're wrong, and she doesn't dispute that. But like this is her first sort of defiance, as it were, of this just being us.
Wrong or right doesn't factor into it.
But they're lying to everybody. They're not trying to close the seal. They're trying to use it. They still haven't learned. They still haven't learned what they're dealing with. They still haven't learned how dangerous it is. They're still trying to figure out a way to be better than these gods and the Leviathans. We can't do it. It never works. I know. And she stands up. She's still way shorter than he is, but
yeah. Well, look at all the good that shutting it down has done for us. The power from that is the only thing keeping the city running, is the only thing keeping these people safe, which is the only thing keeping them alive. He wants to go live out there, and he like gestures to like, there's like the view of the ocean.
Yeah, right.
It's like stormy all the time. No one's going to last a minute out there. It's a hostile world. And you and I were pilots. Maybe we can get out there and live, but not for long, not without all these people. So wrong or right, I don't want to hear about it. This is keeping our people alive. Our people, Prophet. Remember that. You're one of us.
She's definitely has like the anime thing where she's been like looking down, and she looks up when he says you're one of us.
Yeah.
Like, really? She doesn't say that, but it's like, yeah.
Except it's like while you're being berated.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, and he's trying to motivate you. So
it's a little hopeful to be, even when being berated, to be told that you're part of something.
Anyways, all hell is going to break loose now that this thing is shut down. So what are you and your crew going to do to clean it up?
We're going to, and she pauses for a second, and you see her sort of like look, she sort of looks up and has sort of like thousand-eye glare, and then we see like prophet vision for a moment where like a Leviathan is like crashing through the defenses and just mowing things down, and like another one where there's like a fire, because what happens when power goes out is fires start, because there's no water to turn them off, to put them out, and lines break and things like that. So she sees like a couple different disasters, and it's all sort of montagey. It's just like fire, burn, bad, right? Like
Yeah.
it's nothing super specific.
Bunch of Leviathans stomping through the bastion, destroying everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she comes up to stand beside him and like tilts the Venetian blind so that it's no longer like angled down and it's just straight. And then like now her face is not like there's maybe just like one line.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like the room is lit fully.
The room. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I pull the damn cord so like the thing goes up and we're like facing outside and the bars go away.
Yes.
And I say, we're gonna do our job. We're gonna fight the Leviathans. We're gonna protect the city. And she looks back at like her helmet, because we wear helmets. We've established this.
Yeah,
it's on his desk.
Like your flight suits or whatever.
Yeah, like on her flight suit. She looks back at her helmet and she's like, "With your permission, sir."
And he like narrows his eyes at you.
I'm happy to roll the fire right now. I feel like he's not going to buy this stuff. Like,
sure. Why don't you do that? That'll give me some guidance for his reaction.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think I'm doing right now.
Yeah. We'll just say risky standard. Like, don't worry too much about that. I'm not going to rake you over the coals on this one.
Yeah. Everybody hurts. I would like to take a dark bargain, since you already sort of have said this, but I don't want to take this if it doesn't count. But I'll take a dark bargain and be like, we'll do whatever needs to be done. Essentially, already offering to go on whatever mission, unless you feel like that's already part of the other thing, and therefore that's not.
No. Yeah, this is good. This is a good way for it to factor in. Yeah, I think that coming up through your being reprimanded makes more sense, and the other one, because of like the context that Andy reminded us of.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So essentially, by saying this, I shouldn't say it in so many words, but by saying this, I'm accepting that we'll take on whatever mission he wants.
Yeah, and he'll drop it, is kind of what I'm hearing as well, right? That like he'll be like, okay, cool, they're on board, they're going to do this thing I need to do.
Right. I want to in this defiance, I want him to regain faith in us. To regain she's
got a backbone. She's a strong military type. Yeah, okay.
I think our fame, identity, or reputation is at stake.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm rolling Red Baroness then. All right. Roop. Risky, standard, 2 bonus dice. Come on, defy. Okay, perfect. Who would want a different result?
They're real good.
I did it.
And yeah, you're like, we'll do whatever it takes.
Yep.
Which is exactly the kind of high commitment language that we like to hear. And he nods and goes back to his desk, and puts his data pad on it for you to be able to see, essentially. He says, good. Because I have tasked all of the other teams with holding the line. You're going to go out there. I'm going to give you a little reminder of why we're all stuck here. While you're out there, you're going to take something back. Assuming it still exists. Assuming it still works.
Are we going to the second location? She says, completely revealing she heard all that shit.
To which he says, no. You put that out of your mind. We used to have a bigger fleet of engines. Some of them are still out there, wrecked or without pilots. But salvageable. And if we're ever going to break out of this place, we're going to need more of them, more than we have. Right now we're on skeleton crews, just enough to hold the line. I'm going to take a chance on you this one last time. Go out there and bring me one. And he like slides the data pad over to you.
I'm going to do a dumb thing. Which is when I go to take the pad, I don't take the pad. I put my hand on his hand. And I say, do you think that you might be able to pilot one of them? Because we know Landgrave's thing is he's burnt every other engine out. He can't pilot any of them. Like that's his thing. It's like, I can't, I'm the chief because I've been like retired to the desk because I can't pilot them. And yeah, so she just like she reaches to get the tab, but she like gently puts like 3 of her fingers on the back of his hand. So it's not like holding his hand; it's like just barely touching him.
I think a perfect way to signal how he receives this is that it's like kind of awkward because you realize that that's his prosthetic hand.
Oh, nice.
And he just like snaps at you like immediately. Like it's not okay to talk about that. He just says, we're done here. You have a mission. Go do it. Don't ask me stupid questions.
Yes, sure. She scoops up the data pad, which presumably has like the mission specs or whatever on it.
And then just says dismissed and like sits back down on his desk. In like, you know, it's like totally like his desk chair is in complete darkness and there's like the big beam of light on you. So it's like you lit in the space and then surrounded by darkness.
I walk stately because Prophet always walks stately. But the next time we see me, Prophet is like out of breath and she's clearly run because the moment she walks us out that door, she's like running. I don't think
booking it.
Yeah, like we'll see her like as she gets to wherever she next appears. But
yeah, running through these like half lit hallways and corridors and
absolutely stuff. Which is the thing Prophet never does. She never moves with alacrity. So yeah, I think we see it on screen because I don't know when my next scene is going to be. So yeah, on screen
like the sound of footfalls in the hallway and then you like passing through the little bit of light,
right?
Blur, and then
I think it starts as like a dark corridor and you just see like the tiny faint bit of light from the data screen she's holding, and then she like flashing by the barely lit places, and that's awesome.
Woo! Okay, let's do downtime.
Should we all roll for stress?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Obligation. Yeah, let's do obligation.
Why don't y'all pick an order in which to do that and tell me what delightful things are happening to you this time?
Doesn't somebody else go since I just had a scene?
Raina.
I'll take input. I mean, we did something that was bad. I'm sure my obligation is not super cheerful, and I know that the public's unhappy.
You're the like public face of the team in a lot of ways.
I am.
So I feel like you take the worst of this whole like team fucking
of the
stuff, because that had already been established the last time we rolled obligation that like you were catching a bunch of flack. So I think there's a like scare quotes grassroots movement of fans like doing a smear campaign against your crew who are like fans of another crew. But it's like backed by the network in like shady ways. Like they have all these plants who are like pushing out like footage of you doing some terrible thing, or someone's like doctored something to have you saying a bunch of bad stuff. There's like all of this horseshit floating around. And so the next time you're like back in a place where you should be, you get swarmed by reporters like coming at you about all of these things, and you weren't around for them popping up, so you have no idea what it all is. It's just like what do you have to say about the allegations and whatever, and there's like the flashing cameras and all that shit.
I mean, it could also be awesome. It could also be true too, like to like twist this knife a little bit. It could be like a fire broke out and such, and like when the power goes out and bad things happen, like they could be blaming us for.
Y'all aren't getting blamed for the power outage because Hildar hasn't ratted
Oh,
you.
I see. Because we've kept that on the deal. Okay, never mind.
He is using that as leverage to get you to do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think what I have to do is, like, when I have to be able to deal with reporters and kind of turn things around on them, right? Like, most people who have like mics shoved in their faces are like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about that. But I think that that's not Raina's style, right? They're like, what can you say about the allegations of this? And I'm like, and since when do you listen to allegations? What do you say about the allegations of this? So, like, you know, she'll like basically try and turn it back around on them and sort of like do her best, and probably partway through lose her temper, and like there's probably some like not so great image of her like taking a mic away from somebody and like yelling a bunch at it, and when they try to reach back she like sticks it in her hair so it burns. You know,
we had a great Canadian political moment once where our prime minister shoved a reporter by the neck, and it was a bit of a scandal, and I feel like this is kind of one of those moments where you just like lose your cool, and just like a reporter, you know, like gets hurt by you and they make a big deal of it and it becomes this inflated thing. So yeah, totally. And you like
totally fair
their microphone.
Yes. So in good news, because I have been spending all my XPs into skills, now my lowest resistance is 2 dice.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Power gaming.
System mastery. Obligations and keeping my cool. How do you do for me?
You stay reasonably cool.
So I'm at what? 3 stress? Is that the...
You're at 1.
Oh, okay, rad.
But we also have that second consequence of disgrace that will kick in after this.
Not a problem.
And so if you want to roll to resist that, you can, but otherwise it's level 1.
I do. What do you think is an appropriate resist for this?
I feel like this is kudere because it's more about the like social pressure getting to you.
All right, one more time. Here we go. Hey, one more stress.
All right, Strauss cannot be stopped tonight.
Well, actually, I think what it is usually Reina is actually kind of a wreck. Like every time we've come out of missions, every time she's been in conflict with her team a lot, right? Like, and this is stressing her out. So a lot of the times her responses to the social obligations are not really good because she is she's already sad from having problems by like yelling at her captain and all this other stuff. And in this last session, we did something illegal. People trusted her. She performed her role as a guardian, and she feels closer to her team, even though society is like distancing her. So she's weathering this just a lot better than anything else, right? Like she's making jokes. She's getting in reporters' faces, which is her persona online anyway. And by being like more out of it, like almost causing scandals on purpose, she's regaining popularity in a sense rather than necessarily just getting slammed and like smeared everywhere. So if it's okay, that's how I'd like to interpret these 2 roles.
Totally. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
All right, who's next?
I love that Reina like Prophet is destroyed and Reina is just like, yeah, we're a team. We can do anything together. It's great. It's wonderful.
It makes a lot of sense and it's really lovely. Yeah, it's real sad.
All right, who is next for the sadness parade?
Sad parade. Why don't you have it?
Sure, sounds like a plan. Oh golly, this is gonna be terrible. I imagine that a whole lot of this looks like Abbott spending a lot of time repairing like wounded engines.
Yeah, all the ones that were holding the line while you guys were mucking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely Bantam's crew was out there punching Leviathans.
New friend.
having a rough time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think about like what versions of this is, because it was disgraced was, oh, there we go. I can well imagine some of what happens as a result out of that idea of things being disgraced is that historically, like we had built this idea that Abbott was this like kind of strange, sort of like a Lucky Charm, like people didn't necessarily, some of the other repair crew didn't necessarily understand, and some of the pilots didn't necessarily understand what Abbott did, but knew that having her around was good for good, and I have been imagining that it has likely turned.
Yeah, people think you're kind of like bad luck now instead. So yeah, maybe some of the crews that you had like arrangements with, the repair crews that you had arrangements with, are now like skeptical or don't talk to you in a way that is off-putting instead of the usual ignore you way.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah, I mean, I could
bumps into you roughly while passing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of
That's
thing.
sort of like prison behavior that is as is depicted in popular media, where there's people not being obvious about or not saying it outright, but they're definitely.
I was going to say a lot of bullying, right?
Yeah.
That
like
in a variety of ways.
Exclusionary kind of bullying. Yeah.
Which is on one level fine with Abbott, but not really, right? Because in particular, the part that makes that miserable is it makes it difficult to get to the engines, and like that makes that work harder. And though Abbott will do her utmost to like tuck it away, like it's at a cost, right? Like it's preferable to be invisible, not to be a point of friction.
Yeah, I think there's this moment where one of the engines that's come back has all these like barbed like thorny things in it, and the crews are like extracting it out of it, and they've had to like restrain it heavily because it's freaking out, because it's apparently very painful or whatever to have these things pulled out of it. And so it's there like screaming, making these like weird wailing like stone on stone grinding sounds and stuff, and Abbott like runs to try to help, and they've like cordoned off the area because it's not safe, obviously, because this thing is freaking out. And so someone stops you and doesn't let you get at it while they're like in there with like angle grinders and stuff, and like this huge hydraulic thing that's like trying to pull these barbed spiky things out of it.
Great.
So why don't you go ahead and roll?
Yeah, I could see Abbott seeing the engine in a lot of pain and not being able to help it. Really sucking.
And as ever, as a stranger, it's on to Kudere. Because that's how that rolls. 6.
I guess Abbott is not put out by.
I think that's
feel free to edit that thing I described to be less horrible if you want, or to have some backside to it that we then see that makes it okay.
I think the backside that makes this okay is that despite that Abbott is as like outwardly upset as maybe we've seen her in the process of like being stopped, she doesn't. There's this kind of this flash in her eyes initially that where like it looks like Raina briefly, and like looks like she's inclined to fight, and that there's a brief pause, and she decides instead she walks away, and then we kind of like the camera pans back up again after she walks off screen, and like time's clearly passed, and she comes back afterwards and spends time with this engine. And
yeah, you're there to like pat its shoulder while it's all upset and sore feeling.
Yeah. After its wisdom teeth have been pulled, you're there to like soothe it.
Right. Peta, peta, peta.
Well, great. And then do you want to be disgraced, or would you like to resist being disgraced?
No, I am interested in resisting that because I think that I'm interested in the idea of Abbott sort of appearing unflinching in the face of all this pushback, because she's very clear on what her lines of responsibility are, even if nobody else is.
I refuse to be disgraced.
Well, I mean, part of like everyone else can be as mad as they want, and
Yeah, but you were like, this was what I was meant to do, and I did that or didn't, and
yeah,
it's my business. Totally.
so that is kind
Like
of
water off a duck's back.
Well, go ahead. It's going to be Kudere. It's no
Great.
different for you than it is for Reina.
boop boop boop. That does not work out.
All right, so 3 stress there.
Dun dun. Great.
So you shake it off, but at some cost.
Well, what would that be?
I mean, you're still definitely getting hounded by people of various types.
Mm-hmm.
Both the other crews who like wanted you to be around to help fix their stuff,
Yeah.
or now are like rejecting you, don't like you touching their engines,
Right.
all that stuff. I feel like these all are connected in that way.
Sure, I can imagine Abbott is deeply ineffectual as a result, and like tries to be sneaky, and thus is like staying up at all, like just constant. Like the idea of when you like try and take a ball from a dog and they won't give it up, and they just keep trying to walk around you to get to it, and they will not give it up.
So that is you.
Apparently, yeah, Abbott's not making like the smartest or choices, and like eventually is tired enough to try and be sneaky about it, and thus can get some things done.
Yeah, but it has to be at weird hours and at great personal cost.
Yeah, that's what I envision that.
Great. Well, Sean, let's talk about profits obligation.
Sorry, 2 new windows open. Can unmute. Yeah, so profits obligation is interesting because I was like, oh yeah, profits obligation is all about like being a good captain, but it's not. Profits obligation is pursuing forbidden love. Which just goes to show. It just goes to show like it's been a little bit since played. And I think I think this could be Prophet trying to interact with Abbott,
Awesome.
which makes a lot of sense. Or it could, and also it causing her stress in the process. But it
Also
could also be
damaging
her trying
reputation.
to. What's that?
Also damaging her reputation.
Damaging Prophet's reputation.
Yeah.
Or it yes, right, because she should be with her betrothed. She should be with Astera, Abbott's sister. So yeah, I think likely a public interaction between Prophet and Abbott where Prophet has to dress down Abbott.
Nice.
Would be great.
Oh, yeah. As part of this whole scandal in the media.
Yeah. I mean, you said that Landgrave like kept what we did on the hush hush.
Mm-hmm. But it still is known that your crew didn't deploy because they didn't see any broadcast of y'all fighting Leviathans and shit. So everyone's like, where were they? What were they doing? And no one is saying to them, well, they were sneaking into a secret facility where we do blah, blah, blah. Like no one wants to let that laundry out. So they're just being like, the official line, which we probably should have brought this up earlier, but yeah, the official party line on it is just that y'all were grounded due to like technical difficulties or something. But
yep. Yeah, I think grounded due to technical difficulties is perfect. The perfect pretext for Prophet having to dress down Abbott, and make this about call out Abbott.
Pile it onto Abbott, right?
Yeah. Like, which causes Prophet no end of stress because she hates doing this. So I like it. I think it makes sense.
Great.
It may also be hurtful to Abbott, which I don't want, but so be for pursuing forbidden love.
But chain of command,
Yeah,
What's
and
your lowest resistance, Sean?
it's a mix between tsundere and moe. So it doesn't matter which one I roll, but I think in this case, tsundere makes sense.
Cool.
As being brash. So yeah, I think it was like, I think the context of it, as I would envision it, is that it started as a private meeting, and like in a hallway or a corridor or something like that, and then like the press jumped on it, and now
Yeah, in the way that nothing is ever private.
right, and now Prophet is having to encode everything she says to she's having to encode everything she says to Abbott. Because she can't actually say what was,
Can't talk about her real feelings because they're
or what really happened. It's
Yeah.
all like layers. Yeah. I kind of want to play at least a little bit of that out. I don't want to like hog the spotlight to have this all about her scene, but I feel like that needs, like, words should be said.
Yeah,
Sure.
great.
Yeah, so we kind of cut in the middle. If you hadn't, and Prophet is faltering in saying this, she says, if you hadn't been so obsessed with finding out what makes things tick and just done your job, none of this would have happened. And she's looking at the reporters and looking at the engines that are in the background, as though like that's what she's referencing,
Right.
but it's not.
I have an imagining that Prophet is looking very soldierly in the minute, and like very upright and like square of shoulder and like trim lined, and is very controlled even in the process of like trying to express disappointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
right.
She's holding her emotions in as much as she possibly can, hoping that looks like she's being professional,
right,
and soldierly. Yeah.
Right. And in contrast, Abbott is wearing, like, I always imagine Abbott in this like big schlubby wool like sweater, kind of, with hair probably in her eyes, and that she probably doesn't tend to like make a lot of eye contact with folks, and probably has like big oversized pockets, and like her hands are maybe hidden in her sleeves a lot. And nice. I have an idea that I'm pretty sure she's shorter than Prophet, like almost assuredly, right?
Yeah,
sure.
That's been the description in the past.
Yeah, and I think Prophet is like in her flight suit right now, because presumably we're gonna go on a mission any minute anyway. So she looks that, LDF, blah blah blah, insignia, all this stuff.
Right. And in contrast, I feel like Abbott looks like a little kid, like a lot in contrast, and is like shoulder to shoulder with you in this conversation, if not close, right? But like square body language, and just kind of looks at you very like broadly and blandly, and will look at the engines and look back at you, and I learned a lot. I'll do better next time.
There won't be a next time. You need to take this seriously. You need to take what's going on seriously. You need to take me seriously. And she like brushes past you. Like doesn't like clip you, but like breaks away. Yeah, that hurt for me. I don't know if it hurt Abbott, but
And of course, like the media scrum like splits into two groups. One that's like
Right.
focusing in
right.
on Abbott being sad, and the other that's
Yes.
And what
Prophet issue.
was perhaps conveyed or perhaps not conveyed is like, I'm done with you. Like I've given up on our relationship. And maybe that's really true. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. That's what Prophet said.
Damn.
We'll see.
Abbott couldn't tell.
I
Pretty
love it.
sure. Like
That's great. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I mean, it was like
how many
like,
layers of code?
How many layers of code? And Prophet is even willing to be honest with herself and all of that jazz. So yeah, no, it's great. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, what's it look like?
I'm changing my mind. I'm rolling Moe. It doesn't matter, but
yeah, this is definitely the heartbreak is what's actually.
Yeah, this is the thing that's hurting me is not being like dressing you down. It's the heartbreak, especially the heartbreak of you not getting it. That's probably the worst. So let's see how much stress that causes.
Because that's when you start asking yourself, like, wait, were we ever a thing?
Yeah, did you ever care? Well, maybe I'm somewhat hardened to this. I think in a future role where I get a lot of stress, I'm going to attribute it to this hitting me emotionally. But I think in the moment I'm like riled up enough by Landgrave and feel enough like I'm angry enough that it's not hitting me emotionally. I'm kind of got a barrier to the impact of it. And in a bit of metagaming, since I saw that I already have a bunch of harm, I'm going to, and I don't know if drained would have mattered in the Defiance, but I'm gonna take Disgraced. I'm happy to.
Right, because you've already got other harm, and you're gonna try to recover and bump it down.
And I think, and it just makes sense. Like I absolutely think that
if it's going to stick to anyone
is going to get disgraced by this, right? Like Raina and Abbott can both brush it off, but Prophet can't. It sticks to her.
Great.
So sad.
Yeah, God. Why do I play this character? Why am I stabbing myself in the feels?
Why are you like this? So real quick, I'm going to get the Bastion to help you folks out.
Oh, cool. Can it make me feel better?
No. No. It operates on a scale.
It can't do recovery options for.
No.
There are no mental health care providers.
It is going to make 2 actions to work on the flagship upgrade project that is currently underway to make an observatory.
Yay!
And which has 1 pie piece allocated to it at the moment. So let's see. So I'm going to roll 3d6 twice. Okay, so it crits on the first roll and the second roll. Wow. Goddamn. Okay, so it completes the project.
Wow.
What did I put? I'm sorry for the aside. That's exciting and good. I'm trying to remember what project Abbott. Oh, it was into repairing the. Never mind. Continue the magician. I was trying to remember what Abbott did last time in downtime with downtime.
How perfect is this? +1 engagement rolls to recover engines and hunt missions. What?
Yeah, it feels very appropriate that like they're like, oh, we're gonna send the conclave out with that crew of shitheads to like do a mission out there. Cool, we gotta like kit it out so that it's gonna do a better job. So like, crews pull like an emergency shift, like setting up this observatory, like getting it back online, installing some stuff inside of one of the like towers on this thing. And so like the work isn't done until it's already like partway taken off and like on its way, but it gets done in time.
Awesome.
And yeah, maybe Sean, we should take a break here. And then...
Yeah, I was just thinking, hey, I think we've gone over. So cool all. We will be back in a few minutes and come back and see how we deal with this disaster that we've created. Bye.